Good evening, one and all, and welcome back to another edition of Cop Talk. Thursday night, 10 o'clock, you know the only place to be. It's right here. Yeah, and we are one short this week, but it's all right, man. We'll make up for it, man. No problems, man. Dr. Blake, what's happening, my bro?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I think the vibe of the week is to stay humble, right? So you know what I mean, I'm good.
I think you beat me to it, man.
Yeah.
It definitely is. Brother Stoney, how we doing, bro?
Do you know what? I am good. Like all results aside, I'm good. I know you're going to be touching on a couple games in the show, but you know what? I feel blessed. I feel good.
Okay.
Still love supporting my team, man. So we're good.
Gonna send a massive shout goes out to the king of the one-liners. Good evening, CW. Nice to have you on board bright and early. I like that. Bright and early. Remember, hit that like, that share, and that subscribe. Okay. So first things first. Wasn't that, to be fair? It wasn't a great week, to be fair. And we we reached the final of one cup, the smaller one, and out of the bigger one. So without hindsight, do you think that Klopp played the wrong team and didn't have enough of the big boys on the bench? Sparker B. It's all right, Sparker. I see you, Joker. Yeah, do you think he took it too lightly and didn't have enough of the big boys on the bench?
For me, no. I think you got it right. I just think like we need to get rid of all this bloody quadruple nonsense. We saw we nearly did it under Klopp. Nearly did it. The previous and then the season after that, our legs fell out. Like we literally had nothing left to give. Last season, we saw how many injuries we had in the League Cup final, and then 5 games to go in the league, we were done. And we weren't even playing Champions League football last season. We was playing in the Europa League, and we saw how Atlanta mashed us up. So for me, this whole idea of winning 4 trophies is nonsense. If we're a club that is used to winning the Premier League year in, year out, by all means, target as many as possible in it. But last time I checked, we won 1 in 30 years. So guess what? Let's just be happy to win the league, maybe the Champions League, and let's try and get that League Cup. But this whole idea of having to win 4 trophies makes no sense to me. So Slot, absolutely right. Prioritize the actual bigger trophies for me.
Okay, before I move on to Stoney with the same question, but would you not have preferred to be winning the FA Cup rather than the League Cup?
Not particularly. I think they're one in the same now. I can appreciate that the FA Cup is maybe slightly higher up, but both don't get you Champions League. Both don't necessarily make you much money. We can't finish 5th win the FA Cup and it's a good season. So for me, they're both like they're desserts. So actually, one we can win early, and then the second one that we can win late. But I just think, if they both started at the same time, then I would go for the FA Cup. But on the basis that they don't, I think the League Cup's the one to go for, man.
Okay, Stoney.
Yeah, I think I can only echo what Doctor was saying as well. If we had a squad that was as big as Chelsea's, where you can literally play one squad in the league and a completely different squad of size and stature in a European Cup, then I can probably question it. But you know what? I'm actually going to be quite honest with myself. The team that we fielded against Portsmouth, in my own eyes, I thought we would have been able to against Plymouth. In my own eyes, I was confident that we were going to actually get through that game. But actually, on watching it, they did a job on us. And I think the other side of it as well is there were players there that are probably coming back from injury. There are players there that are trying to get game time. And I think it was the opportunity for them to actually step up and create opportunities for us to actually get a result. I think you have to give Plymouth a lot of respect for the way that they held tight with their formation. I think their back 3 was solid. And yeah, we just simply couldn't break them down. So Slot did the right thing. We got a lot of games up and coming. I think what would have been quite interesting, and we can always look at things in hindsight. If by the second half the game with Plymouth was the way it was, and then we decided to bring on a couple of our so-called bigger players after 60 minutes, we ended up getting the result that we wanted against Plymouth, but then we didn't manage to put in a good performance against Everton in the Premier League. I wonder if people have been questioning Slot. I don't know. We're literally never, ever, ever going to know that answer. But yeah, just going back to the game against Plymouth, I was more than confident and happy with the squad that we fielded. And I thought we'd have got a result. You know, we didn't. Plymouth played really good, and they deserve to go through. It is what it is, man.
Okay. Sparker B says FA Cup is history. Talking about that question I asked about which one would you prefer to win. And then going on to when you said about Stoney about Chelsea having two squads, he says not anymore. No, he's actually a Chelsea fan. He's our old Sparker, which is true. EW says no disrespect to Plymouth. That's still good enough lineup on paper to beat Plymouth for me. So I wasn't against the team. Maybe could have had more on the bench, but not worth risking Salah and Van Dijk.
But you know, even saying that as well, even saying that as well, and that's such a good question. Sorry, Artie, who was that made that
CW
saying that we had a CW? Even if you think of it in my own head, right? So we would have had, when we're thinking about a team that should have been good enough to actually have got a result against Plymouth. So our goalkeeper has got international quality. Our left back, one of our centre backs, those in there, Luis Diaz, Jota, and I know Trace is obviously coming back from injury. For me, that is all collectively, even though I know they probably wouldn't have played a lot as a team or as a squad, collectively, that was more than enough knowledge, professionalism, and experience to have got a results against Plymouth. So the fact is, Slot put that team out there and we didn't. I mean, there were so many matchups in that game, upon reflection, I'm thinking about, that simply didn't work. Luis Diaz got no change.
Whoops. You frozen, Stoney. You said Luis Diaz got no change, and then you froze. Yeah.
All right. So Luis Diaz. Okay. Luis Diaz got no change on the left. Kaiser got no change on the right. And Kaiser was, Jota was up against those three big bolstering centre backs. And a lot of the balls that we attempted to play periodically were eerily. Jota was not going to be beating any of those players eerily. So I think even tactically wise, Plymouth were astute against us. Mm-hmm. And yes, I just think upon reflection, yeah, it hurts to say it. And regardless of where they are in the championship, I just think they deserve to get that result. It hurts me to say it, but they did.
CW says media are clowns. Seriously, always mentioning the quadruple. Then guess what happens after that? We end up getting beat or knocked out. It's never been done and will never be done. Oh. I have to say that I honestly felt the team that was put out there was more than good enough to win that game. They just didn't perform well enough. They weren't up for it. It's Plymouth's Cup final as far as they're concerned. They have no idea if they will ever get to play Liverpool again in their lives. So you know what? That one chance, that one opportunity they got, they're going to give it 110%. Every man is. And we're supposed to know this, man. We have to rise to the occasion. And we didn't. And that was a point. I don't blame Slot for it. I blame our players for it, for not rising to the occasion, to be fair. Someone else posted up something, and it was the same thing what they were saying. Like, don't blame Slot. It wasn't Slot's fault that Harvey Elliott's crosses weren't beating the first man and things like that, which is true. It was the players on the pitch. They just didn't perform, which is really sad to see, to be honest, especially against a team like Plymouth. That's really bad. And what does it say for going forward now? And maybe a lot of them now we may understand, well, this is why you don't start in other games. Because I've given you an opportunity here, and this is a chance for you to stake a claim and show me maybe why I might have to start giving you some game time. But really and truly, you've just shown me why I don't really have to give you game time. To be fair.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think for me that was the most frustrating, disappointing aspect of it. Because look, no one wants to see their team lose. Personally, like I said, I wasn't overly bothered because I think this whole quadruple thing is an utter nonsense. But at the same time, there were a few first team players on that pitch who realistically are wanting to play in the regular first team and should have been trying to put pressure on Slot for them to get picked. And I think that was disappointing because I think they were all abysmal. But yeah, I get it. They just didn't have the rhythm to perform, but still, I was wanting more from Harvey and Chiesa, and it was utter garbage. Like Chiesa served up a lot of garbage, bro, a lot of garbage, and like we can't have guys on one. Okay, yes, his wages, yes, his transfer fee was low for the pedigree of player that he's been, but we can't have guys on 140 a week, and you can't make the match day squad. So yeah, it's either like fix up or like ship out, man. Like that was abysmal.
It was.
Like might as well have played Rio.
Yeah, I was surprised because I thought he would. I thought he deserved to start. To be honest,
yeah,
I thought and players like that for me are hungry. They will go out and try and do something. They want to impress. CW says Kelleher, Endo, Kone, Doherty are the only ones I will let off for their performances.
Yeah.
Preds, he's not feeling too well today. That's why he's not with us. But you know what? He's jumped in the comments. Respect to that, Preds. It came across as a team just expected to turn up and win. Bouncy pitch, direct opposition. Hashtag didn't fancy it. In a nutshell. Plymouth game was just a bad day at the office. Our build-up was so slow as Gemma Collins walking. Made it easy. We just didn't fancy it when we should be fancying it.
We just never seemed like for me, I just felt like we never actually seemed like we were going to score. I know we've played games at a completely a different tempo this season, and there's been a lot of games where the second half performances is where we really get our rhythm, and then sometimes there's tactical approaches XYZ. But the game was ponderous, and it just seemed like there was and I don't want to use the wrong terminology because I don't want to question anybody's professionalism, but the pace was just it was just shocking. It was very, very, very disheartening to actually watch. So as he said, we know when the result didn't go our way, it was like, you know what? Sometimes you just have to accept it. I don't know what happened there, but we simply went at the races.
No, sorry, I'm going to disagree. I will accept it when my team has tried and they just been outplayed by another team. That's fair enough. But when you don't and you put in a performance like that, that's what I can't accept. Because for me, if you put in a performance, you win that game. If you go out there and you give it everything, you win that game. And for me, you didn't. So that's what I can't accept.
Fair.
Need to figure. All right. Good evening, Amit. Nice to have you on board, my brother. Thank you very much for joining us. Do you remember, peoples? Do that. Hit that like, that share, and that subscribe. So, apart from, who was it? Yeah, Chris. The players that Chris said. Do you think anybody came out of there, with any kind of credibility after that performance?
No.
Yeah.
It's hard, ain't it?
This is what I'm saying. So that's what makes it hard to accept.
I think I give a bit of leeway for the centre mids in Trenioni and McDonald, because obviously the injury to Gomez, which for me was the biggest issue of the game. I think that's what I was most upset about, rather than losing the actual game. And obviously then Endo has to come out of it. So then you've got a really disjointed and I guess a young midfield. And that's probably like one of the worst conditions to actually play, because I think both of them are are good. Obviously, Trey, I think, has got a very high ceiling and can hopefully play for the first team one day. But I just felt like, I felt sorry for the midfield because I could see it was just a difficult game for them to play in, especially then Harvey then obviously playing as the 10, just having an absolute stinker as well. So those two I do feel sorry for, but the rest of them just needs to be called out. Like just weren't good enough, man.
Damn right, not good enough. Good evening, VW's on the other side this week. Nice to have you on board, sir. Yeah, it is shocking. And for me, the FA Cup is the one that's got more prestige for me. So all day long, I'd rather be in the FA Cup final rather than the Carabao Cup, to be honest. It's like the Champions League and Europa League. And they take the Champions League all day long. So yeah.
I do hear that because I think historically, obviously, the FA Cup has been a bigger trophy, and it probably is still now. But I just think, I think it's context, man. I feel like if we finish 4th and win the FA Cup, do we have a trophy parade?
It's like, and you know the other thing as well, Doctor. You're right in saying that as well. It's almost as if, like, I know you can't always pick and choose, what trophies you're in a position to actually win, even though, selectively we haven't played our strongest team against the FA Cup. But it's almost a shorter pathway to get to the League Cup than it is to the FA Cup.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I think if we're looking at it upon for me,
Stone, your dial-up's going again, man.
And we just have to accept it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've got Remnants here today. I don't know.
Pedal a bit faster.
I think so, I feel like I'm in Bugsy Malone.
Electric day a bit faster.
It's true. But,
good evening, Jay Boss.
I don't know.
Nice to have you on board. What was you saying there, Stoney?
No. Go ahead. Sorry. It's okay. I'd finished.
No, just saying good evening to Jay Boss. And it's just saying Nunes purple patch from Brentford ended. Gone back to his usual ways with that sitter.
Oh, mate. Some of the Darwin fans out here,
I'm telling you.
Bro, they're like a cult. Leggy and Stephen Balogun, I'm talking about you two. These two will do all type of verbal gymnastics. But how do you know? What the manager's thinking? Because he's not playing him. That's what tells you what he's thinking. He's not playing. Yeah.
Real.
What are you checking?
Only have parades for Premier League and Champions League.
Well,
parades are for.
So we did do the parade when we won both cups, and we obviously lost Champs final, and then we lost the league that season. But I guess that was unique because of how far we got in those two, and then the fact that obviously we then, I guess, won both trophies as well. But yeah, the Nunes thing is what it is, man. I just think this guy gets dropped for extended periods of time in every season he's been at the club. Every season he gets dropped. First season, he was thinking up the gaff so much. Yes, I had all the excuses at the time. He was learning a new language and a new culture. And so hell with that. He was dropped. He was so bad, we had to sign Cody Gakpo in January and play him false 9. And Nunes went to the bench and then went to the left wing. He was that bad. Second season, his highlight reel against Newcastle. He came off the bench, right? So he weren't starting. And then by the end of the season, he was doing a whole lot of nonsense. The game against Man U, the game against Everton last season, when he's toe punt in front of the goalkeepers, he was dropped at the end of the last season. This season, he started the season benched. Slot brought him back for a little bit. Him and Jota kind of competing for it. Jota gets injured, and Slot's picked Diaz again. So every season, a guy gets benched. But apparently, this guy, the Nunes fans are that, bro. It's mad, bro. It's mad.
Well,
it's mad.
Fred says that Nunes didn't even start against Plymouth. Is Slot sending signals? Nunes is not for him.
And then they keep saying to me that he needs time. He needs time.
No.
Time for what? It's
No,
his
no, no,
third
no.
season.
He's had more time than a Citizens Watch, mate. Now later, I've had enough. I've had enough. Yeah, no. That excuse can't run now. That excuse has run out, as far as I'm concerned. There's no more of this. He needs time. I think you've had enough time. You've shown your colours. You've shown your class, and you're not cutting it. To be fair, you're not cutting it. I think. What did they say? Liverpool rejected 2 bids in the summer from Saudi, from 2 different clubs.
So no, in January.
In January, sorry,
Yeah.
2 bids.
But for me, that makes sense, and I think that doesn't mean that Slot wants him long term. I just feel like we've got brilliant harmony in the dressing room and at the club. Darwin is a part of the group. Jota's got injury problems, so unless you can sign somebody who you think is in your top 2-3 strikers, then selling Nunes to sign one of your top 3 strikers, then you've got to integrate that person into the team. Can you even get them in January? Probably not. So I just feel like keeping him in January, like, yeah, made sense, innit? Like, no one's saying Nunes is terrible, innit? And under no circumstances would Slot would rather have no Nunes than have him, innit? Like, he'd rather obviously would actually have him, but the fact that he's got him, it doesn't mean that he rates him highly, because if he did, he wouldn't be getting bent for Luis Diaz, who's a wide player.
He should have shot him, mate, and played Jaden Danz, I tell you.
Nah, I think Danz needs time, man. Look, Nunes isn't terrible. I just think
I've got more faith that if a chance falls to Danz, that you finish it though.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. I've got more faith in him.
Look, Nunes is gonna have other moments where he's gonna be good for us, and I think he's decent. I do think he's decent. I just think, it's just levels, isn't it? It's just levels. Sometimes you're not just levels, and I think unfortunately that price tag has killed him, because if he costs £30 million, it looks and feels a bit different.
Good evening, Mr. Network. Says, evening, chaps. Our second squad isn't good enough. CW says, Nunes works hard. Yeah, so do kitchen porters in bad hours, having to clean dishes and rapidly sweating. Yeah, you got a point. Big shouts goes out J Boss. That's Jim, by the way, gentlemen. Says, you know my thoughts on Darweezy from the group chat earlier. Yeah, Jim's looking at a way of getting him out himself. Take him out himself. Seriously. Yeah.
Listen, I think he's gone in the summer, isn't it?
Jim's not having it at all, mate.
Yeah, I think he's gone in the summer because he's 3 years into his contract, right? And he's got a 5-year contract. So his value will decline next season, because obviously he'll just have a year left. So what's more plausible, that we sell him this season or we offer him a new contract? Offer him a new contract. Yeah. No.
They offer him a new contract, man. I'd have to start questioning Slot, man. Seriously, I'm not having it.
Right.
And you know, sometimes a crazy thing, like you were saying, Doctor, as well, right? We'll probably just have to take a slight hit on the finance of him. Yes, we are the greatest club. We are the greatest club in the world. But the other side in it, there's thousands of clubs within the world as well anyway. So listen, the man will move on. He came to us to try and be part of a certain project. He wasn't able to hit the levels or the heights, I think, that us as supporters, or I think the coaching staff and everybody involved in Liverpool, they're like, but you know, it's not the end of the world. He'll move on and we'll just get somebody else in.
That's the truth. We will. I reckon we'll still get a good 60 million for him.
Yeah, I think so. He's still got like a big profile in that. I don't see a European team bidding 60 for him. Maybe a Premier League team. Like a West Ham or something like that. But I think it's Saudi Arabia, man. Like, you need to go and learn his deen. Like, it's all good, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, go over there. You must score over there, bro. I don't care. Yeah, I must. Good evening, Dio. He says, greatest club in Liverpool.
So making trouble.
Yeah, I'll tell you, they're all at it today, mate. They're all at it today.
You know who that is. Dio
disappointing, but some said we might have to look at it as a blessing in disguise. One less tournament to be in. We can focus our sights
Absolutely.
somewhere else and look at saving the squad's legs, to be fair, to play somewhere else. Is there any updates, gents, or anybody in the comments can tell me about Gomez, the injury to Gomez? Is it a serious one? Is
I
it
saw
just
something that indicated that it's going to be worse than what they expected. Not like Kai Havertz bad, but it's going to be like more than, say, 2 to 3 weeks if it was just like a regular. I always forget what's the most minimal hamstring injury, but I think it's going to, it might be kind of like 4 to 5 maybe.
He almost looked, so when he went on probably about 10 minutes, didn't it? Because it wasn't quite long into the game. You can see when he was speaking to the medical team, he looked fed up, as if he was saying in his head, I just can't believe that he sustained another injury. And he's sitting there was no rush, understandable. But yeah, you can see he's just probably thinking to his head, again, man's been made captain, lasts for about 10 minutes, XYZ. And then this another issue has occurred as well. I mean, where does this once again stand in terms of the collective or continued injuries with Gomez? I think we are at a position at the moment where we've got Van Dijk, who hasn't had a lot of injuries, and we're quite grateful for that. But any partnerships that he's had alongside him, I know Ibrahim body's obviously changed and adapting. He's had a series of injuries. And then obviously we've had this continued injury system or situations with Gomez. I mean, if anything happens to those, then we're going back to what happened in the Plymouth, where we've got Endo playing at centre back. So maybe come summertime, the club have to start probably thinking about purchasing another centre back. And we have to be quite honest with ourselves. I think that has to be as paramount as us looking at a left back. So it's quite concerning, I think.
It's a real shame, man. I'm Gomez's biggest fan, but the injuries are too much. And I just think when you then think about him and Konate together, although this season Konate has been a lot better. I know he had that injury, but that seemed to be because someone fell on him, right? So they've managed to improve the Konate situation. I did hear something that apparently this season he's taken his post-game kind of what's what I'm looking for, post-game not rehabilitation, that's the word, that he's taking it a lot more serious. He's got a program that like he does at home, and whereas I think in previous seasons he almost used to like finish work at 5 o'clock and then that was it. Whereas I think now he's going home and he's doing the whole ice bath thing, stretching and etc. So hopefully that
shows commitment to the cause, young man.
Yeah. So hopefully,
who is that doing that?
Konate.
Okay.
So
CW says everyone's careers are done once they need surgery on hamstrings.
It's a shame, man.
Endo done a job at centre back. To be fair, as I said last week, Slot definitely don't want him. It's like that one girl you don't actually like, but it's useful to have around the house.
Right, boy. Back in the days of drawbacks, boy.
Yeah. Wow.
Successful, but it was always the one who you knew.
Yeah.
Just in case. Just in case, boy. Just in case.
Back up, Betty.
Yeah. And she was so back up.
Everybody else was busy. You know that she never.
And the worst thing was, she was so back up that she actually knew that she was a backup. So
of course.
Say, just in case I don't get a link.
Play your position, as they say. Play your position. Okay, so yeah, gents. All right, so we'll take it as, you know what, it's a blessing in disguise. We can focus our sights elsewhere and target that and move on. So that was Plymouth. We move on to the big derby game, final one at Goodison. We knew it was going to be hectic. We knew they were going to come at us and have a good go. And they most certainly did, gentlemen. They most certainly did. What can I say, man? This game, I think it had a bit of everything, to be honest. I ain't gonna lie, it had a bit of everything. Yeah, talk to me, man. How did you see this game? Before we get on to Michael Oliver, yeah, we'll get onto that. Don't worry.
This game was No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go on, Stoney. Go on, Stoney. Go on, man. Go on.
This game was, and I'm thinking afterwards, even the build up, still looking forward to XYZ, right? Now I must admit, the way that Moyes had Everton playing compared to how Dyche had them playing, for me, it was like yin and yang, completely disbelief. The way he was able to galvanize and raise those players to that level for Everton to actually put in that performance, especially, I'm only giving an example like Beto. I just thought
he looks a totally different player.
Completely different, RT. I mean, at the end of the game, it was one of those where I thought, you know what? It was a reminder why I enjoyed, right? And I'm going to use the past tense, enjoyed watching football, because for me, that was a throwback. That is how games used to be, where Everton turned up and they said, you know what? Listen, we're coming for you lot. Beto had no respect for Van Dijk and Konate one bit in that game. And for me, that once again shows like certain players can be galvanized, they can be raised, certain managers or, importance of certain games can actually change the dynamic of how games actually unfold. But for me, I was excited from beginning to end. And as you mentioned, I know there's a lot of things we're going to break down. There was everything in that game. The only thing that didn't happen, there was a man coming in with a parachute and landing on the pitch. Everything else that you wanted to happen in a game took place. I thoroughly enjoyed it, RT. I really did, man.
Okay. Damn. CW says he didn't expect that amount of goals. He thought it was going to be a frustrating 0-0. And Pred says my remote nearly ended up sticking out my TV screen. Doctor, how did you see it then?
Yeah, I think Stoney's right. It had a good old-fashioned derby kind of energy about it. Moyes done a decent job. Like, Moyes is a good manager for Everton. And I always felt like Everton have actually got decent players. That saying, I do think they were able to play one way and we weren't able to match them because of the referee. Now, I won't get on the referee in terms of the big decisions that he was making, but almost. They were allowed to be physical. We were up for the physical battle, in my opinion. But every time we matched it, it was then free kicks, they're diving, and the referee's blowing. Because you can't tell me we had, 64% possession, and we conceded more fouls than them. Like,
they conceded 9, we conceded 20.
There you go. The math ain't mathing. What they were actually doing. So I felt we stood up to the physical battle quite well. Obviously, they're going to cause you certain problems and that. But I just felt that ultimately, it felt like there were two different types of rules on the pitch. And I think that's what was frustrating for me. If we had tried to match them but couldn't, then hands up. But the fact that we actually did, and then the referee was doing just that kind of nonsense, I just found it just mad frustrating. Then I got man sending me clips of Tarkowski's winner, and they're playing the flipping Titanic theme tune under it, and that I was like, it's like they got them. They got the man Celine D on the high note, and Tarkowski bursts the net. And the next thing, who was marking Tarkowski? I tell you who's meant to be him. Darwin flipping Nunes stands there and watches him go. Flipping hell, that guy. Darwin Nunes.
So bad. You're probably the only person that would have picked that up, Doctor. You know what's so crazy? You seen that situation when the ball came through? Tarkowski licked that ball so hard. I wasn't even looking at who was marking him. I just thought, how can a man hit the ball so hard? Even if Alisson was in there, Alisson was going to hospital.
Yeah,
his hands would have been mashed up.
Yeah.
The thing is, like,
his body would have been mashed
the
up.
thing is, I actually think he's a good centre back, my man. Like I've always thought he was blatantly good. Like,
Goodison, yeah, he's decent. He's a decent defender.
Yeah, like he lacks a bit of pace, but I think in terms of his overall game, like he can play off either foot. He's decent on the ball, passing's blatantly solid, strong. So I weren't surprised that he connects with the ball that like that. But I'm just thinking to myself, why is there centre back free in the box where all of the other red shirts who are in the box are picking up a man? The only person who's not is Curtis, but Curtis is in a good position where he's almost marking the space outside of the box. Fine. But why have they got a free man in our box in the 98th minute where we've got 3 or 4 forwards just ball watching? Yeah, not good enough.
Yeah,
not good enough.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking
Not
stuff.
good enough. But I was just semi-pleased that the person who was ball watching and who man it was actually Nunes, not a player who actually liking it. And actually just like, I was like, you see, works hard. The guy's a brick. He's a brick. You see? But now, all good.
Not shocked by Everton booting us off and roughing us up. And like you said, for real, definitely there was I just couldn't believe it. I knew from it was announced that Michael Oliver was going to be referee. I knew it was going to be very controversial from then. And then Robertson, I don't know how many brain cells this guy's got anyway, but I think there's 2, one under his left foot, the other under his right. You understand? He pushes the player and gives away the free kick, it was a blatant free kick. You 2 hands and you push the player, and then you kick the ball away and get booked. I'm like, come on, dickhead move. I think it was 2 minutes later, player does exactly the same to Gakpo, 2-handed push off the ball as Gakpo goes around him, and Michael Oliver says, play on. And I'm just like, this guy says exactly the same challenge, guy.
Yeah, it was mad still.
Exactly the same challenge. I just knew. The one that you're talking about, another one that was diving as well, was the McAllister challenge. McAllister didn't actually catch him. He didn't actually catch him. And it gives you
about 3 that Matt got blown on, and he didn't even like touch the people like the actual players.
Yeah, it was.
But you know, there was some other things that happened in that game. Not necessarily to do with the match official that you have mentioned as well, RT. But Decore had some chances in that game, you know, and like I just thought to myself,
the header.
Decore had some chances in that game, and even that I was thinking, goodness, you know, there were short periods where I felt we were riding our luck. I hadn't seen much of Everton played O'Brien at right back. He's a big unit, that guy is, man. So even defensively, I thought the defensive line was bigger than Plymouth's.
It's true.
There were some big boys at the back there, but I thought what was good is that even though they were big, we weren't attempting to play the ball eerily to match them there. We continued playing the ball on the floor. What was quite interesting in the game was the tactical change with Conor Bradley coming off. You know, there seemed like a period of time that it seemed like he may have got sent off. So, so I shouldn't laugh, right? So we took off Conor Bradley to prevent him getting sent off from Curtis Jones. And then Curtis Jones at the end fighting up 3 man.
Big up Curtis Jones. Big up Curtis Jones.
I have to rate him for
I like that.
Yeah, big up Curtis Jones.
He went straight for him, no hesitation, you know.
Yeah,
as he saw it, he just took off and he was on it. And
then 3 of them against 1. I could come like that scene in Endgame when it's Captain America just staring down the army there. He's like, what? Bring it. I said,
they need to add new lyrics to Luis Diaz's chants. They called him Lucho, he goes missing. Oh my days.
Oh god.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. He didn't have the greatest game last night, to be fair. Jabo says, I just happened to be staying in a hotel 5 minutes from the ground last night. And trust me, the noise did not stop till gone 2 a.m. in the morning.
Listen, I can imagine. I think that and like going back to what your initial question, Artie, was what we thought of the game, and I was saying I just thought that had everything up to even when Tarkowski scored and he ran over to the crowd, almost like a pitch invasion. And it's like,
Yeah.
sometimes you take a step, you almost have to take a step back and think, you know what? This is why people watch football, though. It hurt me that they equalized, but you take a step back and you think, this is why people watch football. Even the vibes afterwards in the crowd is just like, wow. Seriously, I mean,
the commentator made a
amazing.
comment about that as well, about that they panned the camera on a young boy who was there at the game, and the commentator said he will never ever forget this moment.
No, never.
Life. And you know what? He probably won't never forget that moment.
That's
And do you remember that day? I was there. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, never forget that moment, man. Never.
Yeah, it was
So,
good.
Derby game, away at Everton, 2 points dropped, or a point game?
2 points dropped for me.
Why?
Because I just think it was the nature of their goal. And once we scored the second goal, obviously, like they had that period at the start of the second half where they had a couple of half chances, granted. But I felt once we scored the second goal, they just weren't threatening. Like, it's not like we were having to like hang on in there and the rest of it. So I just felt, because see, with like the Newcastle game, where they scored the last minute goal, but we were under the cosh for a long period. That was a real back and forwards game where like we were struggling in that game. As I felt this game, it felt like we were largely in control. And had the referee decided to be fair and balanced, shall we say, then the game goes very different. Like you think about the Mo Challenge foul, like towards the end where he dubs that freedom and the guy actually does a blatant take one for the team foul, and the referees play on, and that's on what, the 96th minute or something like that. The incident where the referee stops the game when the two Everton players clash, he's got about 40 seconds left to play. So realistically, the most he should have added on is maybe about 90 seconds, absolute maximum. So I just felt, in terms of, like, for the threat that they had, for me that was 2 points dropped. Although I do acknowledge that referee played a part in that. And why was Darwin Núñez, the people's champion, the man who worked so hard, why was he just watching while his man just went forward, innit? This is what Slot's talking about, innit? Being cerebral. Because Núñez will track. Sometimes if he loses the ball or Salah loses the ball, he will sprint back and win the ball. Núñez. But when his man just walks past him and goes into the box, he's just sitting there like, give me the ball, guys, so I can score.
Everton definitely deserved a point from the game. Draw, fair result for me. Just the way they got it. Absolute killer. They could be earlier than that, not added time. So painful.
That's a fair point.
I think you know what was interesting about this game as well, RT. This was a game where, in terms of us being clinical in front of goals, right? And that's why I said it's for me. I'm still trying to weigh up how I feel about this game, right? Even though it happened a couple of days ago, because previous games I think we played. Who have we played recently? So Tottenham, Bournemouth, and I think it was Nottingham Forest we played previously. A lot of our shots on goals have probably been in double figures, right? So we're looking at some about 14, 23, XYZ, right? This game was a game where we had 3 games on target and we scored 2 goals. We were more clinical in this game than we have in previous games in terms of we didn't need as much, shots on goal. So I think on reflection, and this is, as he said, I still don't know how I feel about it. We never ever want to draw in the game, but I'm probably comforted just to say, well, you know what? I think on reflection, I think I just have to be happy with the point, I don't know. Yeah, I think I just have to be happy with the point. And I think the only thing is, I'm just still thinking, even though I know that Arsenal are now, is it 7 points behind us?
7 points, yeah.
7 points behind us. So yeah, it's a strange one. You know what? Yeah, I'm just comforted with that. We got Wolves next, so we'll dispatch them.
I'm not happy because of how it happened, basically.
Okay.
I still believe at 2-1 up, we should have managed the game better, to be fair. And sometimes I think this is when Slot should be looking at, you know what, or maybe let's get Endo on and just close up shop. Coming at us, man. They're coming at us. We're away from home. Not long to go. Just come and just soak it up, close up shop, done. You understand? Job done. Just leave there with the points. You know what I mean? Simple as that. 2-1. Yeah, man. And you know what? And then that's the final derby at Goodison. Come on, man. Leave on a high. Then we can go and celebrate in front of their fans. Have some of that. I think we should have managed the game better. Michael Oliver played his part. I'm not going to blame him 100% because I feel we should have managed the game better. We should have defended it better. To be
Absolutely.
fair. Trent kicking the ball up in the air at the first part of it before it then comes across and all that nonsense. Before you send the ball down the line, I don't understand what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? The defending, there was a push in the box as well on similar kind of push on Kanate.
It was a foul
as well. You know what? Outside the box, who knows? He maybe gives that another thing. Do you know what I mean? But for me, like you said, Targoski just coming in unmarked. It's crackers, man. The defending that part is on us. We can't blame the referee on that part. 100%. We can't. If he decides, if the referee goes on and decides, you know what, I'm going to be a see you next Tuesday, and I'm going to play 20 minutes overtime. You still have to do your job.
Yeah.
If that's the case, you still have to do your job, as far as I'm concerned, and that's what upset me. Good evening, Arsenal 14. That game was exciting. Everton weren't having it. I love that Arnie looked like he was going to throw hands at the end. I feel Oliver played way over the extra time.
I don't know. Was it to do with the clash? It was a clash of heads. Is that correct?
Because originally it was meant to be at 5 minutes injury time, and then they had the clash, the heads.
Okay,
and he decided to put it as an extra 3 minutes. Valuable point for me. Obviously, not pleased with them scoring in the 98th. Hold on, let's say that again. 98th minutes. Yeah, for real, man. 98 minutes, man. CW says Michael Oliver is touted as the best referee from England, apparently. Not my words, but that says everything as much. The referee fan club members will try to defend it. So, Arsenal 14. I got a feeling that's my work colleague, and that's Sam. I got a feeling that's him, by the way. That's there. And he brought up a good point today while we was at work. And I think that they should really look at this, and this should be done a lot more often. The same way how he says how teams get relegated, referees need to be relegated a lot more often and go down to the championship. They're not cutting it. Send them down to the championship. But what I have found, if they're consistently not performing, then they need to be relegated. Should be a point system. You haven't hit whatever. You've had this many complaints, whatever. Blah blah blah. You need to step down for a bit, and you need to be paid then championship wages. And I think you know what, you'll find they'll be a lot more consistent when you start ramping with people's corn. You understand their peas. You'll find that they'll be a lot more consistent. But what I do know is, even from grassroots going up, that referees are a limited commodity, so they're protected.
That
Not
makes
everybody
sense.
wants to do it, and it's a struggle to get a referee out there on a Sunday morning. So even if he's effing up, they're still going to have him out there because it's a struggle to get a referee. You know what I mean? I know Stoney's from the referees union, so how do you feel?
And that's what I was going to say. I don't think it should be performance related, whether you are a match official in a top league, and I don't think that you should actually be demoted on your performances either. A lot of it is to do with training and development. The only thing that I'd present a question to you, and you don't have to answer to it, is just something to think about, if in your career, for whatever reason, there was an issue with your performance, I'm confident in saying that you wouldn't want any docking of your finance to actually happen, or you to be demoted if you're in a senior position. What I do agree with you is, RT, what I do agree with you is that there should be more training, there should be more development. I am one that believes that I don't think football should have all of the technology. I just think if you are asking for somebody to be a match official, let them do it based on the law of the game. I don't think they need all of this VAR stuff, VAR stuff. What it was originally introduced for, it's completely transformed now. I don't know whether it's to do with us as the viewers or the paying public or XYZ, but if you're asking person to be a match official, let them be a match official as well. Unfortunately, now we are in an environment where everything's scrutinized, every bit of data is looked and XYZ. And I suppose that this brings and creates a platform here. But yeah, I don't agree with the demotion side of stuff personally. I just don't.
But it's all right then. With your point, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with some of what you're saying. But if you look at people who do work in things like sales, and if you're not hitting your target, then your corner's hit, man, and you could be put down for them things there because you've got targets to hit.
So you know what the other flip side may be as well, and I don't know the answer. I'm just throwing out the other flip side. Could it also be that the level of match officials that we all expect are not actually present? So if we think of it, right, say for instance we have a certain amount of games are actually played in a Premiership a week. Suppose all of those refs are having stinkers and they're getting demoted. Is there enough referees to actually replace them to actually be promoted to actually come up? Hopefully there is, but that may be another issue as well. The level that we all expect. What are we really expecting from our match officials? Are we expecting humans to get 99 or 90+% of situations or incidents is in a game correct? Is that what we're actually expecting?
I'm not. I don't know for everybody else. I'm not. But what I am expecting is consistency, and that's the biggest thing for me. More than anything
but
else. You know what? If you're gonna be shit for me, be shit for them too.
Yeah,
That's my thing.
Agree, and I think.
But you know what? Do you know the other side of it as well, right? And you're right, and I agree with you. Every single game, we all know this, every single game has different situations. So where there may be one game, I'm just giving an example, where your positioning may think it's a foul on the edge of the box. In a completely different game, that match official's positioning may be completely different. And then you're not actually able to visually see it. Or we've got a player who's cute and got knowledgeable. You've played football at a high level, RT, and you know that there are certain players who will feint certain positions or draw a foul and XYZ. So sometimes, unfortunately, the match official is now, even though a lot of your training is to do with the laws of the game, you're now looking at the characteristics and knowledge and experience and, playing ability of these players. And sometimes you have to now take these things into situations in the real game time. And unfortunately, it just doesn't work. A lot of it is human error, unfortunately. And I'll say that a lot of it is human error. It's very hard.
What's your thoughts?
So one thing, I don't like to focus on referees because I always like to think, stop making excuses. What could you have done differently rather than blaming the referee? So for Everton's first goal, we know that it wasn't a foul, but then he blows a foul and then they then score the goal from it. But I can see how the referee thought it was a foul because of just the way the guy falls, the way McAllister goes to kick him. You would like to think that the elite referees would be able to spot that, but I'm not going to be mad at him for us then conceding a goal from that, because actually we never should have conceded a goal like that. So I'm not going to blame the referee for that. I find it frustrating, but from where that foul is conceded, there's no way we should lose a goal from that point of view. And I think if there was less of a them and us kind of mentality in the football, then maybe you get better referees, you get more people who want to do it, and naturally then the standard kind of raises up. So I do think football does need to look at, I guess, just that whole kind of them against us type of energy for refs. That being said, all I ask for is in-game consistency. I think we would like to have things be consistent across all games. So what happens in games 2 should happen in game 4. But obviously, you're dealing with humans, and every person's going to have a slightly different interpretation on various parts of the game. But in game, just be consistent. How you're refereeing them, referee us. That's all I asked for. And I thought that was abundantly just not happening yesterday. And that for me was a frustrating thing. Like the stats bear it out. There's no way we've conceded twice as many fouls as Everton based on how they were playing. No way. No chance at all. There's no way you can tell me that, because when did that Mo Salah foul happen? When the guy just takes him out?
It's in his second half. Because
Second
remember
half,
Mo, was that when he was up against the three? When he's up against the 3 defenders? That's in the second half.
Second half, yeah,
but it was added time, right? It was like,
it was late. That's what I mean. It was late.
Yeah, so was that after the clash of heads? I thought it was.
I can't remember if it was after the clash of heads. I
Could be wrong. But either way, I guess my point would be, there's no way you could not give that, and then you're giving the fouls against Matt 10. Like you can look at the player's body language. He's gone to take one for the team. Like you can. So it's these types of things where you're saying, "Come on, Oliver, man. Like, I don't want to be calling cheats and the games are fixed and Man City's." I don't like that type of thinking. I want to believe of just human error, and just sometimes you just had a bad game. But it's when there's such discrepancies against how one team is being treated versus the other team. And I just feel like Everton were just allowed to be mad physical throughout the game. Throughout the game. Like you said, we got bare lumps up front. I mean, at the back. Like, they're jumping into our centre backs. I've got no issue with the game being played like that if it's an equal for both teams. And I think for me, that's what was like crazy frustrating. It's like rude boy, what are you doing? Like, what are you like looking at? Like, so for me, that's where I just thought, Oliver, you're taking the piss, bruv, innit? Like, you're blatantly taking the piss. Because and yeah, the whole thing with Arnie Slot and all that, him getting the red card afterwards, I'm actually fine with that. I don't think Slot should have done that. I think Slot's lost his head. I understand why Slot's lost his head, but I've got no problem with that. Like, I just think, you've got to remain cool.
Yeah, you need to. You're the manager of the team, man. You got to lead by example. Do you understand? How is he meant to go in and discipline Curtis Jones for his behaviour, for getting a red card, and you just got to run?
But I think Slot's range because
really, like.
He went back and he firmed Curtis Jones. He's not going to do it.
I think Slot's vexing it. Slot's just like, you're taking the piss, bruv, innit? You're taking the piss. Like,
and you know what, Doctor? You probably had such a valid point.
Is a terrible ref.
See, I don't know if Oliver is terrible, and I think this is where he kind of throws me a little bit, because I think to myself, I've seen you be good. And what we're asking for isn't for you to be amazing, just be consistent for both teams.
Yeah.
If they're fouling us, it's a foul. And vice versa. And this is where I'm just like, I don't know, innit? Like your mind starts wondering.
It's part of the plan. The Premier League love to drag out VAR for 5 minutes. Refs want to make it about themselves, love adding time. On the other hand, we still got something from the game in hand. It's a point gained on Arsenal. Also, the goal difference can count as an extra point too. I'm still confident, lads. Oh, even Arsenal 14 agrees with Chris on that one. Oh, I think that's okay. If Konate wasn't pushed, the ball wouldn't have travelled to the far post. Pause. Blatant foul.
Because that's what I thought. Originally when the goal went in and it was the euphoria and celebrations, and then there was the VAR thing. My thing was I thought they were going to focus on the pushing Konate's back, and the only reason why I initially thought that was going to be a foul is if that was on field and somebody had gone up for a header and that same push was in a player's back. I've seen refs actually give that for a foul if they've been pushed in their back. So that's
exactly
what I
said.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was going to be. I actually thought it was going to be for the push in the back of Konate.
Oliver gave at least 2 fouls against Diaz for doing similar things. For basically doing that exact same thing in game. I'll be honest. When I saw the push, I did not think people were going to get that.
Yeah. I knew.
Under any circumstances.
You're clutching at straws to try and get
that. Like we weren't going to get that because I just think Oliver was consistent. He didn't give us anything.
Yeah.
And he gave them. So actually he actually was consistent when I really break it down. It was just a kind of bad mind thing. But he actually was consistent. Like we knew what to expect. And because even who was it, Gabe? When Gabe's blatantly holding Cody, he's holding him back at that point. You're on a second yellow, like you're on a yellow already. You're actually holding his arm. And we've got no clear advantage other than we keep the ball. And I'm saying, so my man really ain't gonna give man a second yellow for that, no? Okay, say less. Say less.
Fred says that Everton first was a clever set piece. However, we got caught on our heels.
Yeah, agree.
Wasn't VAR brought in because refs weren't that great?
But this is it. Was that Arsenal 14 that mentioned RT? So, and this is the question. I don't know the answer to this, right? I don't know the answer to this. I thought that when VAR was originally brought in, it was to kind of introduce to give ref more resources to make correct decisions. But I always thought it was just to do with goal line technology. All of this extra stuff, where did that come from?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's mad. It was originally for goal line technology.
They have great ideas, Stoney. You know that person who comes into a company and they start changing everything because they got great ideas? That's what it's like. Because I thought the same thing. Originally, it was like goal line technology and that. And then,
just complicating everything afterwards, man.
Well, maybe we can get them to do this now as well, and we can, get them to do that, and but you can't get them to do nothing right. Pleasing thing is we showed another side to us. We can mix it.
Yeah, agree. We did.
Yeah,
that's true.
We actually did.
And another good point is true. Apparently, Slot's red could be overturned. I doubt it, but it's true. I've been seeing that as well. That they had to take down post. The FA had to take down post about Slot being banned for 2 games. Nothing has yet been confirmed. So all them tweets and those kind of things have been taken down. So we don't know what's going to happen there.
So
he said something sarcastic when he shook his hand, basically.
Yeah, it must have been. So as it stands, then to our knowledge, as it stands, so we got a double game week, haven't we? We got Wolves and Villa. So do you reckon that he will be available as our manager for the next 2 games? You reckon? What do you guys think? Would you reckon?
So I think by all accounts, he's going to be available for the Wolves game because by the time they decide if they're going to charge him and then our window to appeal it, I think that would then take us past the Wolves game. But then it would probably be then the 2 games would be served would be Villa and then City.
Right. Okay.
Now, bearing in mind, City are going to have
Newcastle,
right? Yeah. So maximum he really should get is 2 games.
Okay.
So yeah, I think Slot and the club will be quite calculated. I think if they think that he'll just get one game, or maybe they'll see it as they'd rather him miss Wolves and Villa and then be available for the Man City game. But I guess the issue then is our assistant manager's also banned as well, right? He got a red card as well.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
To be fair, this is what I liked. Like we were on crud afterwards, innit? Curtis Jones flexing like Captain America, slots flexing. Like I liked it, innit? Because like my thing is be vex, innit? Be vex. Because we're vex. I got no issue with that.
No, I agree. I like that, man. Listen, one for all for one, innit? I like that.
Yeah, and if I'm being real, Slot did shake the man's hand like in a mad aggy way, innit? Like you can't really, because I feel like if I see someone on the street and they shake my hand like that, I'm like, bro, like it's like it's something, innit? You can't just do that and not.
No, but he did. No, you could see it. He said something to him because as soon as he said it, and you could just see the look on his face. It was sarcastic because it's like those. Yeah, you know that.
Yeah, he shook
and
his,
and then straight away, then he went for his pocket to draw the card. I knew Chris was going to bring this up. You know, ex-Carlisle youth, the first team, jumped around for took quick free kick for the first goal, and he scored last season too. I was like, please, just F off. I like you, but for once, have a stinker.
Good player, man.
He did have a good game. He did have a good game. He had a good game.
I think he's a good player, man. I think he's a very good player.
Apparently, he's a Liverpool fan as well.
Allegedly, Slot told Oliver, "Good game." See, I knew it was something sarcastic like that. He's normally so calm. I like it even more. Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, 100, man.
You got to show your passion, man. Got to show your passion. What do you lot think about the decision? You think it was a penalty or no pen? The Konate handball.
No pen at all for me.
No pen. I think you know what? It's so crazy, isn't it? That happened in such a blink. There's literally nothing he could have done with his hands there.
Okay.
Yeah, there's literally nothing he could have done with his hands. So that's why, and I'm not just saying that because obviously I'm a Liverpool fan, but there's nothing he could have done there. No penalty for me.
Yeah, that's not a handball. Just the same way that the Harvey Elliott one against Plymouth was a handball. I think,
Oh yeah. It's like you're playing basketball, bro. Like, I don't know what you expect. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, it was a handball, man. Whereas Konate's one, no.
Yeah, because Konate's hand was about here or something like that.
Yeah, it was that close. Up and hit him as well.
Yeah, it was that close. So yeah, to be fair, but I wouldn't have been surprised. You know what I mean? To be honest,
he couldn't have given that.
Then definitely wouldn't have been surprised. So, who was your gents like man of the match for Liverpool?
Oh, Curtis Jones, man.
What for the crowd after?
Yeah, bro. Right, 100, isn't it? 100 on site. That's what I to see.
Yo, the man skipped past the 98 minutes in that.
On site, on site. Because the worst thing is, and this is what I liked. The core is a unit, innit? The core is a unit. And I hate when man have got chat for what they think are like easy targets.
Yeah.
Core is a unit. He's bigger than Jones. Jones was on site. I don't care, innit? That's what I respect. That's what I respect. Went for him straight away.
I was surprised. I was like, where are you going for the core, bro? I was like,
went for him straight away.
Okay.
Went for him. And then the fact it was free him, and he was still going for him. Like
Thank you.
On site.
And you're right. You know, Doctor, you are so right with that, because even when he went for the core, at no stage was Curtis Jones looking back to see whether anybody was coming with him.
No, bro,
he went for him with him with purpose. And even when the other two was there, he was still ready for them.
He was still like that on them.
Even prior to that, like what you were saying in terms of Curtis Jones getting man of the match, to my knowledge, I don't recall, was this the first game that Ryan's been taken off in a game as a sub?
Probably so early. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, to my knowledge. So even then, when Curtis actually came on in midfield, and I know there was the slight rejig in terms of positions, Curtis Jones came on with a purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so yeah, you know, local lads.
He did.
Obviously understand the importance of the game and XYZ, but it's one of those. Thank you. So
Great
yeah,
morning,
I think I'd agree with you on that. Yeah, I agree with you on that, dear Doctor Curtis Jones. Even though Salah played all right as well, but yeah, Curtis Jones. Man.
Yeah,
That's who they gave man of the match to.
who Mo?
To
That
Salah.
makes sense.
The commentators gave
Okay.
man of the match to Salah.
Makes sense.
And I think, you know what? He created one again and scored again.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Breaking more records, man. This guy keeps breaking records, man.
Yeah, we're in the second, and the goal was class, you know, because
Yeah, it was.
that first
It
touch
was.
was dead eye. Boom. Just, it's like Mo don't mess about. Like, it's like when there's food, Mo don't mess about, bro.
When it comes to food, bro,
yeah,
he's on stuff. He don't care. He don't care.
About.
Yeah. I love his single-mindedness, man. Sometimes I do, but other times it does get on my nerves. I'm not gonna lie.
Same. But for me, yeah, it has to be Curtis, bro. Because like I said, innit? And the thing is as well, the Corey, you could see in his mind, he didn't know what to do in it. Because obviously, like he's a big player, innit? He's not used to that, innit? Like, man said it on him, and realistically, like man actually basically like needed help.
Yeah,
like, free man. You've got to think, innit? They're almost acting like my man's like a silky little number 10 who's like an easy target, innit?
Yeah.
He's free man on him.
Yeah,
so that's what I said to Curtis. Yeah, Curtis.
He held his own, man. He held his own.
Yeah, bro.
He's a scouse. He's a scallywag, me.
Yeah, he put it on him, man.
Don't mess about, bro. Don't mess about with these boys. I tell you. But do you think that sometimes when that happens, you think it looks like it's not classy?
No, I don't. I like it.
Or losers, you know what I mean?
Nah, I
don't. No, I don't. Not in this situation anyway. Because I'm thinking of it in this. I don't think we were. I don't think we're outplayed by Everton in the game. I think it was more of, like Curtis Jones was saying, look, if you're going to celebrate, cool. Celebrate in front of your friends. Don't go. Don't be disrespectful. That was almost like a man doing 2 rainbow flicks over your head. Like you understand? You're getting an elbow, like a firm elbow. Like there's no need for that. So we understand you're happy because you know it's in a strange thing as well. And this is me not being petty, right? What's his name? Doucouré could all have got a yellow card for inciting the flipping fans on the side. Suppose they jump over the pitch and carried on arms house. He could easily have got dismissed for that. So this is not me being petty, but we've seen situations like that as well. You're golden, brother. Behave yourself. But,
and I didn't think it. I'm just stressing. I didn't think it. But I didn't think when the racist abuse comes, it's gonna serve you right in that, bruv. I didn't think that. I didn't think that. I didn't think that. I didn't think when the monkey emojis come, I'm not saying a word in it. I didn't think that.
Oh my god! Wow.
Oh my gosh!
I just say what just say what I didn't think. I didn't think that when the monkey emojis come, it's gonna serve you right. I didn't think that.
But overall, as I said, I just thought it was a brilliant game. It was a throwback. It reminded me why I loved how football used to be played, combination with some of the technical and the love that we're actually seeing now as well. But yeah, I just thought it was brilliant, man. Absolutely brilliant game.
Yeah, it was. I must say, like watching it, most of the family was out, so it was like me and myself making my noise as I do, and it was like after being like 1-0 down, it's just like, you know what? I was like, calm. You know what? Right now, this first half, we can't play any worse. And I know we've been a second half team this season. So I'm like, all right, cool. Let me just wait to the second half and see what happens anyway. When we get back to 1-1, I was like, I'm talking to myself, and I told you. I fucking told you. Yeah, here we go. And then when Salah scores, oh my gosh, listen, the cat left the room, everything, brother. The noise. I was going nuts up in here. Trust me. Right then, my wife and the kids are coming. And her friend on the phone was going, what the hell is that in the background? He's saying he's watching football again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going nuts. I'm like, yes, I told you. So you could imagine how deflated I was to see that go. Because I'm sitting there at like 96, like, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? Blow the this me. I know it, man. He's doing this on purpose. It's a stitch up. And I can just see what's going to happen. So sad, man. So bad. I'm telling you, deflated. I don't even know. I wanted to throw my plate on the floor. To be fair,
Crumbs, this man. But you know what? Artie Beto's finish was all right there, you know.
yeah.
When it
Like,
went down, I thought,
started to look like
I
a
didn't realize he
half-decent
had
player.
that.
He
I
started to
didn't
look like
realize
a
he had that in his
half-decent player
locker.
right now.
Bro, this is the thing. Like, T. Berto, he's blatantly like, I wouldn't say he's good, but he's decent because he's got good attributes in it. He's blatantly fast. Obviously, he's physical. He's got a decent touch in that, and his finishing's not bad. So if you get into his head, then you get him fired up. Like, he's got attributes, man. Like, yeah, he does.
Jones doing that, fair enough, but everyone else should keep their heads, get down the tunnel. McAllister was clapping our fans, doing chin-up gesture, winner's mentality. Nah, Chris, I agree with you on something, you know what, about winner's mentality and all that, but you know what? You can't tell me that that's getting off and you can get down the tunnel. I got to stay out there and back my boys.
Yeah, 100.
I'm not going nowhere. Until I know that everybody on my side is safe, then we can go down. But I'm not going out there leaving no man alone. You're crazy.
Yeah, and I think this is where South American players come in handy, innit? Because what goes up over there is mad, bruv, innit? What goes up over there is different, bruv.
Referees running for their life, bro.
It's different over there, bruv. Different.
Man playing with shanks in their socks and all sorts of nonsense.
It's different over there.
It's
so
a different level.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. Them like Boca versus bloody and River Plate derbies and that, like, it's on site, isn't it? So like these men are used to violence, and like violence and physical aggression. That's just like part of the culture, man. Like, if you're taking a piss, then that's just gonna happen, man. The key thing was that Van Dijk was calm.
Yeah. As usual, Van Dijk was calm. You know what I mean? As usual. So, gentlemen, we've got like you say, we've got Wolves coming up. New manager seems to be, he's made them a harder team to beat at the moment, I must say, than Gary O'Neill had him. He's got a plan in place. How do you see that game going?
2-0.
2-0. Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2-0. But I think we're actually playing well. I think we've reached a good standard. I think most of our individuals are playing well. Like I think actually I say 2-0, like it could be even 3 or 4. But I think we're actually like in a good kind of run of form right now. And I just think the fans are going to be fired up, players are going to be fired up. Like I think that's almost kind of like ignited things a little bit more. So yeah, all good, man.
Well, I hope so. I bloody hope so. I'm telling you.
Listen, man, Slot's normally the coolest person around, innit? So for a lot of getting vexed, like, it's gonna be fired up, man. And a bit of a siege mentality is always a good thing for a club. So
yeah, well, like I say, I really do hope so, because Arsenal got Leicester this weekend, and that's 3 points for Arsenal, man. 100%. Yeah. So we need to be on job. Stoney, how do you see that Wolves game going?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think, as he was saying underneath the new manager. I think Arsenal beat them 1-0, but I don't think that was an easy game for Arsenal. So even though Arsenal won 1-0, I think that game was quite equal, to tell the truth. And didn't they beat Villa 2-0? I'm sure they beat Aston Villa 2-0, you know.
Yeah, you might be right.
So.
Yeah,
I think
and
so.
then so that game against Arsenal, even though Arsenal won, I just thought that game could have gone either way. They beat Villa 2-0, and then I'm sure they beat Blackburn in the FA Cup. So they're probably coming from 3 games where they've put in really good performances.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so we have to be mindful. I know we're at home. We're on Sunday. I don't know what time it kicks off on a Sunday. So I know we're at home on Sunday. To 2-0. Okay. 2-0 Liverpool.
What time is it?
I think 2:00.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's United.
Spurs United.
Yeah, that's 4:30, isn't it? So I think I think we're ready 2:00.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, 2-0 Liverpool.
Okay. Yeah, Cody didn't have a great game last night either, to be fair.
Disappointing, Cody. Disappointing. He almost went. I hate saying it. I feel like he went missing from the viewpoint of their right back. I can't remember what his name is, but we just didn't go at him. Yes, he's physically imposing and that, but go at the bread, turn sharp, like take him on. And I think it's almost where you missed a bit of Mane there, isn't it? Because you know Mane always had that spite, like I don't care in it, like
I don't care who you are, bro.
On stuff in it, yeah. But yeah, like I wouldn't fault Cody for that. I'm sure Cody will probably score on Sunday, man.
Do you reckon he was probably? And I said this is all hypothetical. Do you reckon this would have been? Would this have been the first Merseyside? I wonder if this would have been the first Merseyside derby that he would have been, that Cody would have played in, because it was a physical game. He was up against. Oh, you know, he was up against Dr. Who I mentioned at the beginning of the show, the defender that I hadn't seen, O'Brien, the big guy. Yeah. So I wonder if. Shouldn't say that because we've seen Cody up against lots of different players. But maybe I don't know. I won't speculate.
I just think like he didn't have a good game, but that's fine. That's fine because he's on a good run of form. So I do expect him to turn up on Sunday, man. Because to be fair, I always said it. Cody needed to go to a barber's, and since he's got the fade, he stepped up, bro. That's what happened. But what happens, bro? Like, man, get a certain kind of confidence. It's like Dubois. Like, since he started linking that bloody girl from South America, the man turned wicked, didn't it? It's like sometimes you just need something to help you get through, man.
Ross is crazy. That needed a tribute.
Cody's faded up now, bro. He's faded up. He's on his thing, bro.
Everton still need to come to Anfield. Ready for them. Everton's going to get cooked, yeah? Saying Liverpool 3-0.
Good.
Yeah, I'm looking at 3-1.
Okay.
I'm looking at a 3-1, I think, that game. I think, we'll have too much for them at home, to be honest. Yeah, we'll have too much for them at home. So, yeah. Once we keep Cunha quiet.
Cunha, yeah. And it'd be good to see him playing against. You know what's going to be good to see? It's going to be good to see RT, what was that midfielder?
Gomez.
Was it Gomez?
Gomez. I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be good to see if Gomez plays. Yeah, that's going to be a good little. I want to see how he adapts and whether he probably fitted in with the system and XYZ what we're wanting to do. So that's going to be a matchup that I'm looking at.
Very interesting, yeah. But I feel where we can prosper is like their defense isn't that great.
Okay.
And I think that's what could be really our saving grace, to be honest. So yeah, be very interesting.
Cool.
Oh
yeah, man. I think we're gonna just I think we'll be a lot more direct in our attacking. We won't look to try and control the game as much. So yeah. Let's just go for them, man.
Okay. So, gentlemen, thank you very much.
I want to go and watch Endgame now, man.
Go with him. Got career mode. Wish list again.
It weren't me. It weren't me saying
the game off. It happens, but our certain striker who works hard is misunderstood. Load of nonsense. Nah, man, that's totally different, man. Gakpo's been on form. Nunes hasn't, bro. Sorry, CW. Can't agree with that, mate. That's nonsense.
To be fair, though, I think I'll probably play Nunes on Sunday, though.
Instead of
Diaz.
Oh, yeah. Diaz was... Well, for me, Diaz is suffering playing out of position for me.
Yeah, I think so. But I feel like against Villa, I think that's a game for Diaz playing through the middle. Whereas I think, like in all these poorer teams, and even with Everton sometimes, I think sometimes you've just got to make centre-backs work, put them under pressure. And it was no coincidence that the moment we put the ball into the box yesterday, Everton started to panic a little bit because Mo's goal, Diaz's cross weren't particularly good, but it just caused panic. And sometimes you just got to be a bit direct that time, rather than always trying to play through teams and around teams, and just make the defenders have to like turn around, man.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I hear that. So we're gonna say thank you very much, peeps, and do remember we will be back the same time, same place next Thursday. Half-term time, man. Yeah, so you know you lot will be well rested, can stay up late and chill. You know what I mean? Yeah, time off, man. Stoney, you must have some time off in it. Half-term.
Nah, no time off for me at the moment, man. I'm still pushing through, man. It's half term, but working in further education never ever ends. So I'll have an easier week next week, but still going to be in the grind, man.
Okay. Doctor, you got some time off?
Nah, I'm flat out for the next 2 months, and then I want to go somewhere, man. But it's all good. It's all good.
Okay. Peoples, do remember, keep it Cop Talk. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. It's nothing good like sharing, man. Do remember that. Peace and love, and we'll see you next week.